Progressive overload.
Yes, bread and butter.
Progressive overload is so important.
It's crucial.
So why is this a concept that we need to focus on and adhere to if we want to see gains? I think there are 4 reasons why. One, and I just mentioned it, to actualize gains.
Yes. There is so much research around progressive overload. All these other things that are coming out, these fitness classes, these other ways of quote unquote building muscle. This is tried and true. This is a foundational piece that you can be sure is gonna reap the results.
Exactly. I think it's important to understand that in order to get stronger, if that's what you want, you have to end up doing more. You can't keep doing what you're continuously doing. I see this often in my physio practice where I'll have someone that I worked with and, I didn't see them for like a year or 2 years, and they come back and they're like, yeah, I've been doing the same exercises that you gave me. Which is great.
And they're saying it like, aren't you proud of me?
Yes.
It's like, I am, but I would also like for you to keep moving forward. Yeah.
Which is great because it's consistent.
Yes.
Let's talk about what progressive overload actually is.
Yeah.
So it's as simple as what it sounds, right? We need to progressively make things harder to see an adaptation. So I say this all the time, and you'll hear me say this thousands of times, SAID principle, specific adaptation to impose demands. So you can't really just do a bunch of things and expect to see changes happen.
I mean, you can, but when you start to get into the weeds of it and you hit that plateau and the beginner gains stop and you want to continue to progress and you're potentially no longer doing so, understanding what reps you're at, what weight you are using, the type of exercise that you're using will be crucial for you to not stay in plateaus or not stay in a muscle building phase longer than you need to. We know there are natural reasons why those things stop. You're depending on age, testosterone levels, and injury, right? But more than less, that doesn't have to be the case, or we can find ways to dull that curve, to continue to see progress, depending on how intentional we are with our progressive overload.
And progressive overload is not only putting extra weight on the bar. That's one thing that we have to make clear.
Huge.
Okay. It could be something as simple as increasing your range of motion in a squat, right?
So
going
underrated.
deeper into a squat or any movement, putting extra stretch on the muscle and tension. That's a way of making it harder. And believe me, if you can do 10 repetitions at thighs parallel, try doing full depth squats. You may get to 4 repetitions.
100%. With that same weight that you were so confident with.
Exactly.
Right? You might even have to regress the weight if you want to maintain technique or maintain a good technique to impose that same demand, if not more.
Exactly. Another way is to increase repetitions, right? So instead of doing 8 repetitions, try to get to 10 or 12 repetitions. When you get to a point where you can do 15 repetitions with that same weight that you started at 8 repetitions, then you can either increase the range of motion or you can put weight on the bar and then bring the repetitions down.
You see this a lot with calisthenics moves, where you're trying to add 1 rep to your pull-up a week, or you're trying to add 1 rep to your sit-ups a week, but even then, progressive overload comes in there where it's like, okay, can you do a pull-up with a weighted vest? Can you do a pull-up? So the main thing is there are so many different ways that we can progress a movement to get a new muscle stimulus.
Something you may not have even thought about is just doing a new type of exercise that works the same area. That novelty is that novelty to your nervous system forces you to adapt, right? Because if you're not good at that movement, then you have to get better at it. Another thing that's really important is understanding that it prevents undertraining and overtraining.
Two things that are very crucial to killing off potential. When I say gains, I just mean ability to make muscle.
It also prevents injury because overtraining often will lead to burnout and potential injury.
No one can train at the same intensity day in, day out. And if you are, you're probably not training as hard as you truly think you are. And people tell me like, oh, you deload and you go in between phases of training. And I look at them and they're doing the exact same thing. Their body is just physically telling them when it's not. I'm like, hey, John, I haven't seen you in the gym for the past 2 months. What happened? Oh, I messed up my shoulder on bench. It's like, that's your body's way of putting you in a deload where you're not comfortable enough to go back to the gym, where you have to recover, which we know is equally one of the most important things for muscle building. So,
and that leads me to my last point. It forces you to keep data on your workouts, which then you can go back and you can look at the trends and put two and two together. Oh, every 4 weeks, my shoulder starts to hurt. Well, maybe. Wonder why, right?
Exactly.
Progressive overload versus let me throw another 10 pounds every week on the bar. And then, like you said, it allows you to add and program in a deload or proper rest, which 100%. Is so important.
100%.
Hey, if you like this segment, then stay tuned for our next segment where we discuss the bench press and how it may not be a functional exercise, or it may not be a good exercise to do if you're looking at functionality.